do you really think that the Byzantine Empire, the great superpower of its day, was overcome because the Arab armies were really well organized and had better weapons? Not really. The Byzantine Empire had just thrashed the Persians and was pretty trained, pretty powerful. The Emperor Heraclius knew the ground. He'd fought the Persians there. He was ready. What was the secret that enabled them to take the city? The reason why they were allowed into the city became clear on the day when they entered the city. And Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anh refused to pray in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. He gave the Christians and the Jews their rights. And he asked to be shown the place of the temple, Al-Haykal, the place which is the Masra of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Hard to imagine a more magnetic, more powerful place. And the Christians had covered it with garbage and sewage. Because for them, this was the relic of the old thing, Judaism, and Christianity was really formed as a specific rejection of and a persecution of Judaism. So it was the city's rubbish heap. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anh starts to clear the site with his own hands. He doesn't enslave the population and get them to clear it for him, he does it with his own hands. Here again we breathe something of the perfume of the extraordinary humility of the entrance of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and his great, pure-hearted, luminous Sahaba into the city of Makkah. That's a real fath, an inward fath as well as an outward fath. And the presence of the Dome of the Rock, possibly the most beautiful building in the world, and the art historian Sir Shavrul Sitwell travelled there in the 1950s, said, probably the most beautiful building in the world. The reason why we have that is because we deserved to have that. So the key to Jerusalem and the key to a united Palestine, once again under solely Islamic rule, the key to that is not Hamas, it's not Fatah, it's certainly not these new Al-Qaeda type factions. All of that is just an intensification of the reason for failure. It's more revenge. The suicide bombing is an example of that. Who could imagine the companions of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anh going into the Byzantine marketplace in Jerusalem and stabbing people at random? That's not how they were. Did they do it in the time of the Crusades? For 120 years of Crusader rule in Jerusalem, was there anything like suicide bombing ever? The Crusaders were worse than the Israelis. Nothing like that. There was sabr, and there was an awareness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Lord of history, and He can turn history around just like that. This doesn't mean that there is no action. What it does mean is that the action you start with is the action within. What's the first hadith in Islam? It's the beginning of Sahih al-Bukhari, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Actions are only by intentions, which has 1,000 meanings. And one of those meanings is that the consequence, the blessed consequence of your action, really it depends absolutely on the heartfelt quality of the intention that you put into it.